Welcome. Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Great to be with you. Thank you for tuning in. Don't forget, the best place to catch up on everything that's going on is proamericareport.com. Proamericareport.com. You'll pop in there. You can enter in your email address for the Daily Wink, which is what you need to know, of course. We'll talk about that in a minute. And also track down all the bits and bobs, as they say, of the show. Lots to see there. I'm trying to figure out why that piece of paper is on my desk here. It's not what I'm looking for. Hey, if you missed it, and you shouldn't be missing this, every Wednesday at let's see what time it's at, 12 noon. No, 12 noon. Yes, 12 noon. Excuse me. Gosh, I can't even speak today. 12 noon, 1 o'clock East Coast time, so 10 o'clock Pacific time. I do a live webinar for Project Pro America, and right now the webinar is 7-hour sessions every Wednesday on I call it the problem of communist China, our second Cold War. And today I talked about the problem of communist China and the threat we've seen, especially from their systemic, or maybe the better word is systematic planned effort to steal our intellectual property and our trade secrets and everything else. An extraordinary sort of map, if you map it out, how bad it is what they did. So if you didn't get a chance to see that, you should go to phyllisschlafly.com. You'll see Project Pro America in the corner, and you can check it out there. phyllisschlafly.com is, of course, the place that is the basis for my my day job as the head of the Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, the organization of national organization of conservatives that fight for good stuff. So, okay, let's see. We got a bunch to cover. I can't believe California's governor, and you're seeing all the blowback now on his efforts to close everything down, shut everything down again. One of the problems with Newsom, among others, is that he doesn't realize that the state of California is not one big Newsom ground, right? He's not giving, for those that are critical of President Trump, and I've heard this, they say he should have nationalized the effort and said this and that. Well, the difference between Wyoming and Missouri, or better, Wyoming and Rhode Island, it's like night and day. And, pick a state, Minnesota versus Texas, right? All these different, you have to have some way, our American way of life is some way for local values to push through. Well, in the case of California, you've got such a massive geographic as well as demographic, state. Group of people, group of different entities. And so the difference between Northern California, Southern California, obvious difference between the policies of LA versus San Diego or Orange County or whatever. It's a big deal. It's a big difference. And Newsom is struggling as he curries favor with his favorite part of that. Man, it's to the detriment of the rest of the state. So I think he's now, by the way, I think you can see in some of the actions and reactions of these folks that they know they've got a political problem. I mean, a big time political problem. So, it's fascinating to watch. All right, let's get to what you need to know today. What you need to know today, I want to highlight for you a very important piece that ran in, I think it's the USA Today. I'll get to it, but it's a column by Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro is, of course, many of you know Peter Navarro from his time in San Diego, our listeners to the program, and his he's been a teacher. He wrote a book on China, all these kinds of things. He very, very interesting man, and we've known him for years. He has been at Eagle Council a number of times. Our Eagle Council is our National Eagle event. In fact, we're having our Eagle Council in in Washington, D.C. on September 20th through 22nd. And so Peter Navarro is a professor. He has been a writer, and he is somebody who has been talking about China for a long time. And then he backed Donald Trump early. And when he backed Donald Trump early, he then went into the White House. And he has a specific job, a specific title within the White House. His piece ran in the USA Today. Sorry, I say that a couple times, but it ran in the USA Today. And Peter Navarro, his title is, he's the director of the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Policy. So he's in the White House, and he's been in the White House the whole time. Well, he wrote a piece in the USA Today, a column. And basically what he said, I'm going to summarize what he says, is you can't trust the experts all the time. Well, that's not what he said. What he said was Dr. Fauci, who is being touted as the expert, that's my words, on all the things that have to do with the pandemic, he's been wrong a bunch. And I agree with that. And so here's my message to you. What you need to know is experts, I tweeted this today. I said 50% of all experts consulted state that experts are wrong half the time. In other words, I'm trying to be funny there a little bit, but the fact is, experts in our culture now, in America, we've been conditioned to believe that experts are always right. And so and it's really dumb, but it's happened, right? And we have this expertise class that has risen up, and you can't argue for yourself in court. You need an expert lawyer. In the old days, lots of people got up and argued their own case. For example, this is one example. You have to be an expert on this, finance, accounting. Now, some things are actually necessary, the rise of expertise in, say, nuclear power. Well, you've got to be an expert on that. But the people that are communicating about things to the public that are touted as the experts, and in your own life, my pitch to you, what you need to know is they're wrong half the time. They're probably wrong more than that, by the way. So when Dr. Fauci says, don't close the border, don't close air travel from China in January, and Peter Navarro says, yes, close it, and Trump does that. Trump didn't listen to the expert, Fauci, but it turns out he was right. Everybody agrees on that now. When Dr. Fauci said in the middle of March, February, March, don't worry about masks, they don't help. Now he says they do help. Was he lying then or lying now? My point is I actually respect the guy. Dr. Fauci went to my college. I went to the College of the Holy Cross, and I went there, and I respect him. He's been in the field for a long time. He's worked on tough stuff, and I have no disregard for him at all. I think it's very, very positive. We should respect people that work hard, but he's been wrong half the time. And what Fauci goes through is the specifics of the arguments. And what you need to know now is that you have to not listen to experts the same way that the culture is telling us, that the media is telling us, because they're not telling us all the truth. They're not giving the phrase that one of my Bible teachers once said was, enter into this, he said, this subject he and I were talking about, with a spirit of skepticism. Now, you can't be a doubting Thomas on everything. You can't doubt everything. You won't function. You won't get out of bed. But a spirit of skepticism in this culture, when so rapidly the culture is manipulating us, when so rapidly big tech and others are manipulating us, the spirit of skepticism is necessary now, especially when it comes to experts. I was trying to think of some other examples, and here's a good one. It has to do with the same stuff Peter Navarro cares about. But for decades, the experts on economics and the experts on trade told us that tariffs will destroy your own economy. If you, America, put tariffs on another nation, it will destroy your own economy. That was like experts telling you over and over, here's how it would work, here's why it would be bad. Well, they were wrong. We just tried tariffs. They worked. They didn't destroy our economy. Now, there's lots of reasons for that. I am sure it has to do with the strength of our economy and, but the fact is, they were wrong. And so over and over again, if you're going to the doctor, you better have your spirit of skepticism on when they tell you X or Y or P or Q. My friend I talked to a friend in Pennsylvania. He's the coroner of a county up there. And they're doing an analysis of the deaths by COVID because he's not sure that he believes what people are telling him. And I told him one of the things that I really worry about is that a lot of people were put on hospice when they got COVID instead of being treated. And I don't like hospice. I think hospice can be really abused. And so he's going to look into that too. But my point is that the experts will tell you X, and you're supposed to listen. My point is the spirit of skepticism, like what Peter Navarro's laid out, is very, very necessary. And so what do you need to do now? I told you when I say what you need to know, what you need to know, today's wink is this: you have to doubt the experts and question more, okay? But then what you need to do is in your mind, you need to be resetting your calibration so you're not falling for it. And then number two, and this is big, just like anybody else, elected officials and public figures will utilize and fall for and be swept away by experts. And we have to strengthen them. Now we have the power through social media, through radio, all the ways we can reach them, to teach our public officials, elected and otherwise, that they have to be entered into this stuff with a spirit of skepticism, not swept along by the experts. Again, respect for truth, respect for effort, fine. But not, he's an expert, you have to listen. It's proven wrong. In fact, the best leaders, the best people functioning are utilizing what I'm saying. And that's what you need to do. So there you have it. All right. We got a great show today. We're going to actually talk with somebody who's really been poking through some of these places we should worry. His name is John Solomon, and he's got a new book out, and we'll talk about what he's seeing. He's a journalist, incredible journalist over at justthenews.com. We'll talk to him and a candidate for office up in Pennsylvania. We'll hear from her again. We'll be right back. Ed Martin here on the Pro America Report. Be back in a moment.